name is Stephanie Guillory. I work at Everyday Labs, and I am joining you from Denver, Colorado today. And I'm here with my colleague, Greg Falla, and also with our partner from Pittsburgh Public Schools, Carrie Woodard. We're so excited to be here with you today. A few things to note. I know one of the most popular questions we get is the session recorded? Yes, the session is being recorded, and we will be sharing it with you guys in a follow-up email. And we will also be sharing the slides that Carrie will be presenting today. So you'll have a PDF of those slides as well. So we are going to, so the chat is open. So I know many of you are already dropping in your name and district. And we will not have time for a Q&A from the audience today because we're keeping it super short. But if you have any questions for Carrie, we'll have her contact information at the end and you can reach out to her. And if you have any questions about solutions from Everyday Labs, you can reach out to Greg. He'll be dropping his contact information in the chat, or you can also complete our Contact Us form and we will be happy to answer any questions at all about our attendance solutions. So I think those are all of my housekeeping notes. So I'm really excited to have Carrie Woodard here today. She is the Director of Student Support Services, School Counselors at Pittsburgh Public Schools. In her career, Carrie has also served as a mental health partnerships project manager, a college and career counselor, a school counselor, and a teacher. Advocating for and empowering students who have been systemically excluded is where her passion lies. She has recently published on the topic of health equity for Black youth and is also a regular contributing author in Pittsburgh Parent Magazine, typically on topics around K-12 education. So today she's going to be sharing details about Pittsburgh Public Schools and how teams across the district have been supporting families and students of diverse backgrounds last year and also this year, and we'll highlight a bunch of the successes and challenges along the way. So without further ado, I will pass it over to Carrie.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. So we'll jump right in. As you heard, my name is Carrie Woodard. I'm from Pittsburgh Public Schools. A little bit about Pittsburgh Public Schools. We are the second largest district in Pennsylvania. We're comprised of 23 K-5 schools, 11 K-8 schools, 7 6-8 schools, 5 6 through 12 schools, and 4 comprehensive high schools, as well as 4 special schools for a total of 54 schools. 53% of our students identify as African American or Black, followed by 33% white and 14% other races. We have approximately 57 countries represented and 95 native languages spoken by our students. All of our students eat for free. Every student in the district, regardless of their age or their financial circumstances, is entitled to a free healthy breakfast and lunch daily. So with last year's data, approximately 19,000 of our 20,000 students ate lunch daily last year. So as Stephanie had said, during this webinar, we are going to be exploring and answering how Pittsburgh Public Schools meets the diverse needs of our students and our families. And we're going to share specific ways we've been able to set up our schools for success. So when asked about Pittsburgh Public Schools and how we're meeting the diverse needs of our students and our families, I thought about the work that our educators do. At the district, I oversee our school counselors, our comprehensive school counseling plans, and I'm often assisting our school social workers as well across all of our schools. And our families by creating equitable, trauma-informed environments. So this would include creating inclusive and welcoming spaces, maintaining positive relationships, active engagement with our families, and of course, prioritizing culturally responsive instruction and offering an array of enrichment clubs and activities. So the next few slides, we will cover some examples of the way that we're able to set up our schools for success. So one example of how we set up our schools for success is by ensuring that we have culturally responsive books for all of our learners. So on this slide, we've highlighted 2 of our district's partners, Reading is Fundamental Pittsburgh and Carnegie Library of Pittsburgh. They've donated many titles to our students from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. In August, our PPS back to school event included distributing some of those Reading is Fundamental free books to our families. You can actually see me in the top left photo, handing out some books on a like 95-degree hot day, but definitely worth it. We also distributed free book bags and hygiene kits, hand sanitizers, and other giveaways. Students were also able to sign up for free haircuts, or they could get their nails done. And we also had a reading corner with Black Men Read and the Mentoring Partnership. So that's always a fun event. So with Everyday Labs, we began our partnership last year, and we're excited to continue this year as well. One of the things that I personally like about Everyday Labs is that it really helps us to engage with our families in conversations about how impactful it is when a day is missed. So every day matters. So what Everyday Labs does is they send personalized mail and text messages on our behalf to the families of the students who are chronically absent or they're at risk of being chronically absent. And by keeping our families informed of their students' attendance, and we also give them, they're giving them the context of how their attendance is compared to their peers. We also are able to connect them to resources so that they can overcome some of those barriers. We saw some really good data. 58% of our students who received Everyday Labs intervention improved their attendance rate last year. So everyday intervention really supports our district's families. It helps plug into the hard work that our social workers and our counselors are doing of connecting families to resources that they need to overcome those barriers to attendance. Our school counselors and our school social workers are the main points of contact in our schools that are going to connect our families to those vital resources. And what we've really enjoyed is our partnership with Everyday Labs. We're able to connect our families to some agencies that can provide further assistance and really cater it to what we need and what our families need in Pittsburgh. So for instance, through the text message support bot, like a chat bot, if a parent is indicating that they are experiencing housing instability, for instance, the support bot will connect them to a resource that our district has identified. So for example, PA 211 or Finding Your Way in PA are some of the things that we have suggested and that Everyday Labs has connected for us. So here is some of the data from last school year, the 2022-23 school year. And as you can see, over 5,700 families use the support bot text message feature to be linked to resources. And some of those resources are things internally too, taking them to a specific page on our website or a specific directory and things like that. The top supports that our families identified that they needed assistance with were attendance, transportation, and general school support. Okay, so having strategic staff in schools for positive relationships. PPS, we work closely with UPMC Children's Hospital of Pittsburgh. And last school year, our schools took the Thriving Schools Integrated Assessment. And what we learned from that is that the district is doing some things very, very well. What we're doing well is around schools communicating to families about community-based supports. We're doing well with schools providing resources to support student success. And we're also, our school teams are coordinating implementation of policies and practices regarding family and community engagement. 9 of our schools here at PPS are community schools. Community schools serve as the hubs of the neighborhoods. In our community schools, the partnerships with community organizations and businesses broaden the educational and experiential scope of learning for our students. Additionally, in each of our 54 schools, each school has a FACE coordinator, and FACE stands for Family and Community Engagement. Our FACE coordinators are teachers or their other staff members who are really passionate about promoting student achievement. They want to build relationships between the school and the community, and they're engaging families and members of the community. At PPS, we have the Office of Out of School Time, and that exists to ensure that all of our PPS students have access and exposure to opportunities that complement and enhance and extend learning that occurs throughout the school day through a coordinated network of high-quality community partners. We currently have over 180 vetted school partners that cover focus areas like academic or educational enrichment, and arts and culture, and civic engagement, career and employment leadership, and then social, emotional, and behavioral evidence-based interventions and strategies, and STEM and STEAM. So a lot of really great things that are connecting our students' learning outside of the school day. The Office of Out of School Time also oversees the district's Summer Boost program, and that directly serves over 1,000 Pittsburgh Public School students, and we offer free summer learning for students in grades K through 7. So here's a great example of a way to engage and empower our students. Student Envoy Camp. It's held for over 400 students in grades 3 through 12. And the Envoy Camp is an interactive opportunity for students to strengthen their leadership skills by learning the secrets of efficacy. So as they return to their schools, having the knowledge of the secrets, they're fully equipped to work together to make a positive impact in their learning through role modeling. And they share what they've learned and they apply what they've learned in their building. So they're learning these really great leadership skills, and then they're able to connect with their peers to help them make positive choices and make their schools a better place to be in. Each year at PPS, we also offer at least 3 opportunities for our high school juniors and seniors to participate in college and career fairs. So the first one I wanted to share is the HBCU fair that's always in Pittsburgh every fall. We encourage each of our 9 high schools to bring students to the HBCU fair. That stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. And we know that the research shows us that HBCUs are crucial to the success of many of our students. And the research shows that graduates of HBCUs, they feel very supported at their institutions compared to a lot of their Black peers that go to predominantly white institutions. So exposing our students to HBCUs is really important to us. And so that's held every fall. We also, at PPS, we always host the Infinite Scholars Fair on one of our campuses, and that's available to students across the county and the state. And the mission of Infinite Scholars is to highlight the importance of equality, diversity, and inclusion. And many of our students are earning on-the-spot acceptances to college and on-the-spot scholarship offers right there at the fair as well. So that's always very exciting. And then I also wanted to highlight one of our partners, the Pittsburgh Promise. We host a Pittsburgh Promise Fair every spring, and they always host one in the fall as well. The Pittsburgh Promise, it's a nonprofit organization here in Pittsburgh, obviously, that promotes higher education among urban students. They fund scholarships for post-secondary success. So it's always a really exciting time to attend these fairs so that our students are engaging with admissions professionals and they're getting excited for the next step in their educational path. Okay, so overcoming mental health barriers. So the first thing I wanted to highlight for you all, we use eLuma teletherapy for our students in grades 4 through 12. So our students can see their school-based therapist virtually during the school day. Their school counselor or their social worker would make sure that the student has a confidential space where they can see their therapist virtually. This helps to widen the support for our students. No insurance is needed for this, so that obviously eliminates a cost barrier for our students. So for last year, 2022-23, we had 220 referrals to eLuma. They were able to see 213 of our students, and 22 of our students were exited school-based therapy because they met their therapy goals. So that's great. We also have contracts with some providers. So that means that they could do more than just providing standard support. They can have prevention in each of our schools. They could also provide professional development to our staff. So Senant and Invo are two that I highlighted here. We're using ESSER funding for the contracts. So families, again, do not need to use insurance. And because their mental health sessions are taking place at school, that's also removing a transportation barrier. Families don't need to, worry about getting their kid to an appointment after school and things like that. They can, rest assured their student is getting school-based therapy during the school day. So that's always a good thing. We also have student assistance program liaisons and prevention providers. We have contracted with TCB Devereaux to fill the gap for schools that did not have SAP liaisons, student assistance program liaisons. So now that we do have those SAP liaisons in every school, we can ensure that our students are being referred to the SAP program once they have parent permission and are screened for interventions. Then they can really be linked to some services, either in school or out of school. So the SAP liaisons, they're also there to provide support to those teams. They can consult on referrals that may not rise to the level of the screening. Likewise, many of our schools didn't have, some of our schools didn't have prevention services. So now we're able to have prevention providers in all of our schools, and prevention providers can run small groups with students that might be on like social skills groups or, things that a lot of students are experiencing. They can also conduct classroom presentations, and they can also consult with staff. So that's a good thing that we brought to PPS. And then lastly, I just wanted to highlight some of the special programming that we're having in our schools. This, of course, is not a comprehensive list, being that we do have 54 schools, but I wanted to shout out Becoming a Man, or BAM. That is a school-based group counseling and mentoring program for students who identify as male that improves their social, emotional, and behavioral competencies of students in grades 6 through 12. It's for students who've been exposed to traumatic stressors. They face social and behavioral and emotional challenges. So the goals of BAM are to increase the psychological and social emotional well-being of these young men, to improve their engagement with school and improve their academics, and then increase the utilization of safe and healthy behaviors. So that's BAM. We also are excited to bring Just Discipline to PPS, the Just Discipline Project. It's a school-wide restorative practice program. It's designed to improve our students' academic achievement by reducing the use of exclusionary discipline. So we're trying to narrow any racial disparities that might exist in our school disciplinary practices. And we want to create a fair and inclusive climate. So the Just Discipline Project, they provide their own personnel, they provide their own behavioral climate supports. It's at no cost to the district, and the University of Pittsburgh is delivering this program in several of our middle schools this year. And then lastly, we have the Teen Outreach Program. That program is for empowering students in grades 6 through 12 with the tools and the opportunities to build social emotional skills and strengthen relationships and avoid risky behaviors. So our students who participate in the Teen Outreach Program are learning important skills like decision-making, like proper modes of communication, how to set goals. And they're learning about themselves, they're learning about their identities, and they're engaging with the community as well by participating in community service projects. So again, these are just some of the programs and some of the agencies that are being utilized this school year that I wanted to highlight for you today. So we've been doing a lot. We've seen a lot of progress, but as I'm sure many of you here today are familiar with and can empathize with, at times it is difficult to keep programs going. We know that ESSER funds are expiring at the end of the school year. We need to look elsewhere for funding streams. We cannot renew contracts if funding doesn't exist. So those are, the funding is one of the challenges that we're facing. Also, some agencies aren't going to be able to renew with us if they are experiencing a staff shortage, like so many businesses across the US are experiencing that. Another barrier or another challenge is because mental health practitioners, like, they can change. Some agencies are really having trouble retaining their staff. So continuity of care can be a barrier to improving a student's mental health. If they have to keep changing therapists or there's a gap in services, sometimes students might just drop out of therapy because they don't want to reshare their story with therapist after therapist. So that's a valid concern. I talked about staff shortages. Sometimes there's not enough providers to support. So the need that we have doesn't necessarily match the level of support that our agencies can offer. Sometimes our students are not in the right level of care just because there might not be an opening in that level of care. With our student assistance program that I was just talking a couple slides ago, our students cannot participate if the families aren't signing off. So if they don't have parent guardian permission. So that just, emphasizes how important it is to have strong family relationships between the school and the families. Transportation can sometimes be a problem as well with a shortage of bus drivers. I've noticed there have been changes in routes with public transportation here in Pittsburgh because of staff shortages again. And some parents are nervous about sending their students to school on public transportation, but in some situations that's what's available. And then when it comes to mental health, there's always a stigma that still exists about getting help with a mental health stigma. So some families are weary of mental health, perhaps weary in case their child shares too much information. So how do we support the parents? That's very big for us. We want to make sure that our students and their families feel safe and supported and engage with those families. And then one other thing that recently came up this week actually was talking with a student, and there was a misunderstanding about what a school social worker can do. Because, for instance, that student might have had a negative experience with a social worker outside of school. They might have had a negative interaction and then didn't really realize what a school social worker is there for and that they're there to help. So, breaking down that barrier so that there's no confusion there. So these are some of the challenges that remain, but we do have some successes and continued initiatives that we would like to share as well. So one thing that is exciting for this school year, we're happy to report that 12 of our schools across the district are among the 781 schools nationwide to be named as America's Healthiest Schools for the 22-23 school year. And this recognition honors schools' dedication to supporting the health and well-being of our students, our staff, and our families. So we're really proud of all of our schools, of course, but these 12 schools in particular show that they have a commitment to prioritizing our healthy policies and practices, despite the numerous challenges that are in schools across the nation. So that's something exciting to share. So like I said, we're excited to continue our partnership with Everyday Labs. Greg Falla from Everyday Labs is here to talk about the impact specifically here at Pittsburgh Public.
Thank you, Carrie. Hi, everyone. Good to see everyone here who's live. I see a nice combination of partners that I'm familiar with and people that have had email conversations with me. So thanks for joining today. Carrie did a great job, I think, of just showing a little bit of the awesome work that happens in Pittsburgh for their students and families. And that's what makes, I think, me and the rest of our team feel good about the work we're doing, because we can really help ensure as many as possible families and students are benefiting from all those services. Specifically, when we look at impact with our partnerships, we can see improved attendance rates. And in Pittsburgh last year, that meant a 58% improvement when students were treated as part of our intervention approach with that strategic family-facing communications via mail and text. And 17%, the really good celebration point, kind of like the healthy schools, I'd say, is like a really nice milestone of students that were chronically absent, missing 10 or more % of the school year, finished the year less than that with below chronic absence attendance rates. And that's a win. And every day we can reclaim for students and families is a win, because all that work that Carrie and her team does to make those services and supports available that's not going to benefit the students if they're not in school. And hopefully when we talk about challenges like funding and staffing, those are always there. But I think if we can ensure that we know what that demand is for all these services and that families and students are benefiting from them, the other things can follow. And it's all about making sure we're connecting dots for people. And I also want to specifically shout out A+ schools. That's another example of a good partnership in Pittsburgh. Carrie mentioned others where there's community leaders and organizations helping along with the district. A+ schools specifically helps families and schools and students with just general success and supports in the city, and has been a great partner of Everyday Labs in helping fund our work in Pittsburgh these last 2 years and keep it going. So thanks again for joining us today. I'm going to hand it back to Carrie to finish it off and enjoy.
Thanks, Greg. Another exciting thing that we're looking forward to is Everyday Labs is working with our counselors and social workers on professional learning sessions. So we're going to be working with them in the next few weeks here, actually, about meeting the needs of our Tier 2 and Tier 3 students with regard to attendance. Okay, and then one of the last things to share is just about responding to staff needs. We just think it's so important to make sure that the staff are taken care of. I think everyone's heard that analogy about, putting the oxygen mask on first before you're putting it on somebody else. We want to make sure our staff is taken care of. So a couple of examples and ways that we have done this. Last year, we had a staff wellness day for our health teachers, our school counselors, our social workers and nurses, just to give them a full day where they could choose from different sessions that they wanted to attend and just take care of their own wellness. So you could, go to yoga, you could go to line dancing, you could go to meditation. There was bike riding in one of the parking lots, just some different things to choose from that day. So that was a lot of fun. And it was just a nice kind of break in the school year that you could focus on yourself. We also have wellness benefits through HR, including our employee assistance program, our EAP. With our specific EAP, each of the employees are entitled to 6 free counseling sessions per issue. So that's something that is important to a lot of us. There's also wellness webinars. Just new this year, we're using Journey, which is a preventative mental health program for our staff. Gaining feedback from staff is really important too. So there's, surveys that are coming out from HR. We have the Office of Equity that services our students, but it's also providing professional learning for staff so that our staff can understand the impact of race on student learning and investigate the role of racism and how that plays in academic achievement disparities. We also have our Office of Professional Learning that provides PD and a lot of different areas to choose from depending on staff's content. So that's pretty much all that I had. Like Stephanie said, this was very quick and content heavy.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you so much for taking the time. Clearly, you've been very busy. So really appreciate you sharing all the stuff you've been working on. We don't have too much time left, but I was curious, of all the things you've been working on, what makes you the most proud of when you think about the work that you and your team have been doing to support students and families?
Okay, what makes me most proud? I think kind of what I was just talking about with supporting everyone. So our superintendent, Dr. Wayne Walters, has said that he is unapologetically student first. And our new tagline is students first, always, in all ways. What I'm most proud of is that our team in student services, we definitely support all students. And our department is also here to support everyone. So that includes families, making sure that our families have the resources that they need to thrive. We want to support our parents and guardians, and our staff. When we support students, staff, families, that's essentially supporting the whole child. We want to make sure that our students feel safe, they feel supported, they're successful, and they have a great school experience. So that's what I'm proud of.
Great. And you should be. Something you mentioned that I want to drop in for the chat to everyone is that, at Everyday Labs, we really think it's important for everyone to understand that how every missed day matters, whether it's excused or unexcused. And so if it's helpful to you, I've dropped into the chat a mini poster that you can put up in your school or your district to remind families, the impact of why every day matters, whether there's impacts on academics, achievement, career, social connections. So feel free to use that, and I'll also be sharing that in our follow-up email. And so, Carrie, if people want to ask you any questions, where can they reach you?
My email is up here on the screen, so feel free to reach out directly and I will do my best to answer your questions. It's not a problem at all.
Thank you so
I've
much.
shared your Twitter/X account in the chat because I recommend following it. I follow Carrie. She's great at sharing what's going on at Pittsburgh. And she mentioned earlier the writings she does for a local magazine. Those are really good. So give her a follow.
Thanks, Greg.
All right, so I think that is it for today. So if you have any questions at all, you know where to find us, and hopefully we'll see you soon in the upcoming webinars. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.